Here we are behind the scenes at Ghost the Musical at Proctors, and it's a technical preview of all the technical work that goes into this particular show. And it's been all fine-tuned right here at Proctors.
It's good to see you. It's good.
Here we have one station, two stations, over there 3 stations, 4 stations, 5 stations, over there 6 stations, 2 tables there, 7, 8, back there 9, 10, a dozen easily. Just high-tech stuff. On awesome. Coming out.
This show in this particular city is very unique because it's our first city of the tour. So with that, we have to...
I'm going to shoot you while you don't mind, do you?
Sure, it's fine. So right now in Schenectady, we're developing the show. We're mounting a tour version of the show. We have a lot of designers and things that are here, so everyone has their different locations and tables set up in the back here. We have about over 20 people that are here, light designers, set designers, we have choreographers, directors, we have a lot of different people that are here to mount this particular show. There's a lot of different aspects in the show. There's a lot of illusions, there's a lot of different things here. So we have a lot of different professionals for each of those fields that are here to share their expertise with their particular area. And so we have everybody set up throughout the theater here so that when we're doing the run on stage, they're all getting their view of what the audience is going to see. And then they're tweaking things, developing things, and going from there. So we are in a 2-week technical process of the show. We have 5 days to get through the whole show from the beginning to the end. So we're in the midst of those 5 days right now. After that, we're going to start running each act of the show. We have 2 acts in the show. And then at that point, we'll put the 2 pieces together and we'll have a few days to run the show. And we open here in Schenectady on September 14th. So we have 2 weeks that we're here. We already had 4 weeks of rehearsal in New York. And so we have about 6 weeks to put the show together. The show's been in the planning stages for a while, and of course we had Broadway last year. It was in the West End before that, so the show has been having different versions that we are working with here. So this comes in, all of this is gone. The only thing that'll be out here is just the booths in the back. All of this stuff here, like the stage manager sits here, so he's going to be backstage doing the show from backstage. The different designers and stuff are all over here, but all of that's going to be done because the show will be ready and it's all going to be run from their respective areas.
You know, for me as well, so I can understand the depth, how many different levels of the industry are represented by the different tables here? You know, how far does this go?
Here, I mean, you're going pretty high here. I mean, over here we have our production company. The head of our production company is actually here with us, making sure that the show is happening. I mean, we have all of our original people with the show and some of their associates and different assistants and things that are here. So, I mean,
you list all the different creative.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have our production company here. We have our light design team, our set design team. We have the director that is from over in London. We have our choreographer, our associate choreographer. We have video. We have projections. We have automation. We have sound. There's a lot of people for sound. It's a very sound-intensive show. So we have people that are specifically here to be, the music supervisor from New York is also the music supervisor for the show here.
Right.
So he's here to give guidance and to make sure that it sounds the way it should. We have sound designers. We have music programmers. We have the sound department represents a very big part of the design team that's here. So there's definitely a lot of people.
How about graphics?
Yeah, so we have our video programmer who puts all the different things into the system, and it's showing on our different screens that we have, which we'll see in a little bit. We have 7 different projectors in the show. So there's images that you'll see on the front screen. There's images that you'll see on the LED screens. The show is very movie-like because obviously it's based off the movie Ghost. And so there's a lot of movie-like qualities with the video playing throughout the show, and it incorporates into the show.
Andrew, can I jump in for a second? Sure. Just so everybody knows, if you're not aware, this is the first time we've ever teched a show at Proctors. Those of us who've been here for years or come here for years have never seen this before, this sort of forest of work that's happening. Philip right now is working on a program with 8 other theaters where we're lobbying New York State to create a tax credit for Broadway shows to come up here and tech, to come to Buffalo, to come to Rochester, to come to Syracuse. We're losing a lot of that work right now because other states are offering that credit. If we can make that credit happen, you'll see more and more of this in Schenectady. Right now, Ghost has between 70 and 100 people in the city for almost an entire month who need to be fed, housed, and transported. And that's all money that comes directly into the coffers of local businesses. So it's something we're trying to make happen, and this is the first step towards it. And we've had a great relationship working with these guys so far. So. And now Andrew's going to take us backstage.
Sure.
All
so
right.
We'll go over to the other side.
Okay, just
Don't lag too long, Greg.
coming. Here we go backstage.
Excuse me?
Backstage at Proctors.
Yes.
The folks from the history committee are here.
Here we are. Backstage.
While we're backstage, Andrew's going to let us know where we can and cannot shoot. Right now we're fine. You can shoot whatever you see. With the camera.
So if you guys want to do pictures and things up here, and then I'm going to talk and do more presentational stuff on stage with some video behind me. Okay. So if you want to, this show takes place in New York, so we have some banking scenes. A big plot of the show is that Sam, our main character, works in a bank with his friend Carl. So we have some banking things here. We have all of our different props are over here. We have, of course, different briefcases. We have a lot of cell phones. We have many different types of cell phones. We have different iPhones here. We have our iPhone 4, and we have our old flip phones. So there's a lot going on with our different phones. It's kind of funny. We have different files, papers, coffee cups, lots of different things over here. Different set pieces out on this side over here. Lots of different things. Sure. And there's a lot of cables and different things up here. There's the scenery that we'll see in a second on the stage. Everything can fly in and out. It also holds the show up so that you can get some height with the show, and it holds the curtains, the different lights, all of that. And this is controlled by people over here. This is all manual. We have manual fly rail, and then we have an automated system. So our show is split up with some things being manual and some things being automated. And so that takes place over here. There's 4 different people that operate those throughout the show at different times.
And everything you see here is all
Those are taken up with the folks working. That if you turn out the lights, you just see a sea of little apples glowing on the computers. So.
taking over the world.
These screens weighs about 6,000 pounds. So we have 2 of them, so that's 12,000 pounds that are hanging from the ceiling. So that's a lot of weight. They are, each of these here has different pixels on them. There's quite a lot because it's 20 feet wide and about 10 feet high. So we're looking at many, many, many thousands of pixels up there. And so you're seeing some different content from the show, some different things. We're sort of on a little loop here, so you're seeing some different things that are throughout the show. And like I said, these move in and out throughout the show. So they're going to be moving along with some different video that is projected from the front. We have 9 projectors in our show, so there's a lot of different projection. We also have over 200 lighting fixtures in the show. We have 46 of those that are LEDs, so we have a lot of new technology on the show. We have different trusses that are all above us here. Some of those fly in and out throughout the show. All of this is integrated with the set. All of it's with the music. There's a lot of integration with the show because there's so much involved in the show. So at any point we could have these screens flying in or flying out. We could have set pieces flying in. There's the different loft. The loft is a big moment in the show where they're in there, especially with the pottery wheel and all of that. So we have the loft that comes in. We have different curtains that are coming in, and of course we have a whole cast that's on stage that is also singing and dancing and doing a full show at the same time. So there's definitely a lot involved with this particular performance, and there's a lot of different things, which is why here it's nice that we have these 2 weeks because we're teching each moment. different changes for this particular this version of the show, so that we have to figure some things out and develop the show. So it's a very interesting process, and like we said, we have a lot of the designers and the original staff here that's developing the show with us.
One of the many things that make Proctors unique is the fact that we can host shows like Ghost the Musical. After our amazing renovation a couple years ago, we can bring in the biggest, most modern shows. Not a lot of places can hang 12,000 pounds from the ceiling, run a show that's this technically forward-thinking. So it's something pretty amazing that we can do this in our relationships we're developing with New York producers to bring in more and more of this kind of material.
And you guys have all the available space. Like, you need so much space to sort of
stage. But this one seems to me that you have really a lot of new techie stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the posters that you have outside of what you've been having, I saw Wicked, Sister Act, Chorus Line, or some recent things that I think you've had. And those
Phantom, too.
Yeah, Phantom. I mean, those are all very complex shows. This show, one of the most complex things about it is probably the video and the different special effects. Of course, there's a lot of illusions in the show because it's the show's Ghost the Musical. You have to make someone appear to be a ghost. So it's definitely. There's a lot of technology involved, especially with these illusions. We have a moment where someone walks through a door. Well, you don't see that often. I mean, yeah, it happens in Phantom, but you see the mirror slide away and he reaches out, whatever. Here, we're literally going to walk through a door. It's very interesting. It's very unique. It's something that is not ever seen on stage before. That's very unique to this particular show. We had David Copperfield saw the show when it was in New York, and the illusionist Paul Keeve that we have with us on the show, he's worked with David before, and he said, well, I don't know how you did any of these things. How is this possible? How is it possible for you to do this? I mean, he's obviously a very smart person with illusions, and he didn't understand. I saw the show in one of its original forms in London, and I mean, I just sat there. I was completely amazed while I was watching the show because there's so many effects, and you just don't know how it's working. So it's very interesting. It's very unlike all the other shows.
It appears that way.
Yeah, we're definitely groundbreaking. We're trying to push the limits of what we can do on a stage and take the show to a new level. I think we should step. Just sorry to interrupt, but we only have a couple more minutes on stage. Let's take a few more pictures.
Here we are, the other side of the stage. Goodness.
We'll hang out right around here.
Did any of this stuff come from the Broadway show, or did you just start?
Some of it definitely got transitioned.
Many beautiful theaters. I stand on stage. I often think this stage could fit so comfortably on Proctor's stage and have a lot of elbow room.
Right.
I think besides proximity to New York City, it's one of the things that we know will benefit us in the conversation about teching moving forward. Because you could put tape on the ground and pretend you're in lots of other theaters.
Right.
Great for you guys locally here in Schenectady is that we travel with the crew of 15 people. We have a cast of 27 musicians. We have a lot of people that we travel with. However, there's a lot of people that we need here in the theater in order to do the show. This particular show, to do our load-in, to bring all the things in, when we get here, the stage is completely empty. And in a day and a half, here we had a little bit longer because we're teching, but in a normal theater, we have a day and a half. And we will be using 57 people from your area that work in this theater. 57 people will be here just for us to do the load-in. During the run of our show, which is anywhere from a week to 2 weeks in the different cities, sometimes 3 weeks, we will have 29 different local people that are hired by your theater for our particular show. So that's on top of what we have. We'll have an additional 29 people that the theaters are providing. And then to load out the show, we have 61 people from your local areas that are provided to us to help get the show out. So it's definitely creating an impact on your areas because we're using a lot of your people. It gives a lot of work to the people at your respective theaters, in addition to the people that we have on the show with us.
Let's take one quick look up at the gondola well, because that's a really cool aspect of our show.
this is our costume area. We have a few hundred costumes that are in the show. A lot of people wear different things throughout the show. We have the ensemble will be, like I said earlier, sometimes they're a banker, sometimes they are, just a regular pedestrian in New York. We have a subway scene. There's many different places that we go in the show, and they become different people in those particular locations. This show also has many wigs in it. We have 46 wigs that the cast will wear throughout the show. So we have 18 people on stage, and there's 46 different wigs. So obviously there's people that are going to have multiple wigs on. There's a lot of different costume changes, a lot of different looks throughout the show. So we have all the costumes back here. Like we were saying, they're going to, during the show, they will do something on stage. They'll quickly run around, change into a costume, turn around, and get right back on stage again. It's a very quick show. There's a lot of things happening. So we have different dressers that help, they'll stand there and then all of a sudden they have a whole new costume on, just standing there, they'll get something on. So there's definitely a lot. This is a very, very busy area of the stage.
How large is this cast size compared to New York?
This cast is slightly smaller than the New York version, but one of the big reasons for that is because the size of the stage is just a little bit different. So, if you have a cast of 30, I think New York had maybe 24, so we're just slightly under that. You can only fit so many people on the stage. So this cast, we have 18 people on stage, and it fits very nicely on the stage with this version. There's a lot of different design.
Like the line?
This design is a little bit different with the video walls, especially because they fly in and out versus New York, where they were always on the stage. You always saw them. Here we have a lot of things that are flying in and out. So we have a different configuration of the stage. So technically the show's a bit different. So we have different things in that, there's different ways that we are changing the show. I really like this design. I've seen both designs. This is nice because it gives a lot of height to the show. So there's a lot of things moving kind of all around you.
You're about to see taking an element where we're going to start to create, putting all the elements together into one. Like I said, it's a 2-minute scene could take over 2 hours just to put it all together.
This section of the show is about 10 minutes. It's the end of Act 1, so of course it's a very complex and busy section because we gotta get you a big moment at the end of the act. So there's a lot happening. There's many, many different locations. There's maybe 5 different locations that are going to happen in those 10 minutes. So you go kind of all over the place. And so that's what we're doing now, because sometime today we'll be doing this scene with the cast, and so we're doing a little prep before the cast gets here. Because as we tour throughout the next year of this tour, we're going to get some theaters that are not quite the size that we need or not quite the best capabilities that we need. In this particular stage, we have a lot of space, so it's of course very nice. The more space, kind of the better, because you can kind of spread things out and get everything where you need it to be. So it's definitely nice here because we definitely have a lot of space. It's sort of an ideal situation to tech the show in.
It got a little noisy when we were backstage. The thing I was mentioning when Andrew was talking about the fact that the cast is cut down a little, that's because they have to consider the smallest house they're going to hit on the tour. So Proctors has a bigger stage than some of those houses. We can accommodate virtually any current Broadway show, but some of the other houses they'll be going to can't, so they have to consider that. Another interesting thing, just to show you all the work they're doing here, if you notice, you'll see these black speakers hanging from the apron here. You'll also see a little closer to you some white speakers. We have a very strong under-balcony house system here, but not all of the venues they'll travel to will. So they have to set up their own under-balcony system here to test it out at Proctors to make sure when they move on down the road that works just as well as every other part of the system does.
Yeah, we're sort of having to troubleshoot every possibility we could have over the course of our next 35 cities.
Okay, folks, hi. Richard Loveridge, Marketing Director of Proctors. You've seen all the magic backstage. Please come see it on stage. We're as excited as you are. This is the first time performance of this particular staging in the world, and we're so happy to be able to share it with you guys. The 14th through the 20th, right here on Proctor's main stage, be the first in the world to see the new American production of Ghost the Musical. Thank you.
me as well, so I can understand the depth. How many different levels of the industry are represented by the different tables here? You know, how far does this go?
Here, I mean, you're going pretty high here. I mean, over here we have our production company. The head of our production company is actually here with us, making sure that the show is happening. I mean, we have all of our original people with the show, and some of their associates and different assistants and things that are here. So, I mean,
How about you list all the different creative?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have our production company here. We have our light design team, our set design team. We have the director that is from over in London. We have our choreographer, our associate choreographer. We have
4 stations, 5 stations over there, 6 stations, 2 tables there, 7, 8, back there, 9, 10, a dozen easily. Just high-tech stuff. One awesome coming out.
this show in this particular city is very unique because it's our first city of the tour. So with that, we have to...
I'm going to shoot you while you don't mind, do you?
Sure, it's fine. So right now in Schenectady, we're developing the show. We're mounting a tour version of the show. We have a lot of designers and things that are here, so everyone has their different locations and tables set up in the back here. We have about over 20 people that are here, light designers, set designers, we have choreographers, directors, we have a lot of different people that are here to mount this particular show. There's a lot of different aspects in the show. There's a lot of illusions, there's a lot of different things here. So we have a lot of different professionals for each of those fields that are here to share their expertise with their particular area. And so we have everybody set up throughout the theater here so that when we're doing the run on stage, they're all getting their view of what the audience is going to see. And then they're tweaking things, developing things, and going from there. So we are in a 2-week technical process of the show. We have 5 days to get through the whole show from the beginning to the end. So we're in the midst of those 5 days right now. After that, we're going to start running each act of the show.
Here we are behind the scenes at Ghost the Musical at Proctors, and it's a technical preview of all the technical work that goes into this particular show. And it's been all fine-tuned right here at Proctors.
It's good to see you. It's good.
Here we have 1 station, 2 stations, over there 3 stations.
We have 2 acts in the show, and then at that point we'll put the 2 pieces together and we'll have a few days to run the show, and we open here in Schenectady on September 14th. So we have 2 weeks that we're here. We already had 4 weeks of rehearsal in New York, and so we have about 6 weeks to put the show together. The show's been in the planning stages for a while, and of course we had Broadway last year. It was in the West End before that, so the show has been having different versions that we are working with here. So this comes in, all of this is gone. The only thing that'll be out here is just the booths in the back. All of this stuff here, like the stage manager sits here, so he's going to be backstage doing the show from backstage. The different designers and stuff are all over here, but all of that's going to be done because the show will be ready and it's all going to be run from their respective areas.